What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a video about the Warpriest in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which is currently in beta. So the Warpriest is a divine caster that uses their wisdom stat as their spellcasting stat. They will use the cleric spell list, but they're only going to get spells up to level 6 of that list. Now, a Warpriest is basically what you would get if you wanted to be a more martially focused cleric. They are kind of a combination of the cleric and fighter classes. Like a cleric, they will get to pick a deity, which will affect a lot of the powers they get and can use. However, unlike a cleric's domains, they get blessings. Honestly, blessings are still basically the same thing as domains. However, they're renamed because the functionality is a little different. For starters, they don't get any bonus spells or anything like that from these, because you're not getting domain slots. What the blessings do is they will give you a power at 1st and 10th level. Now, what blessing you can choose, like domains, is limited by both your alignment as well as the deity that you choose to worship. Moreover, the powers from the blessings are changed from domains. However, they are the same names as the domains. I think they were just trying not to confuse people overly much. But every one of these will have a 1st level power. Typically, the 1st level power is stuff like a touch attack that deals damage, and then the 10th level power is usually something stronger, like a summon of some sort, or dealing an aura around you that'll protect you from certain types of damage, that kind of thing. Now, for the base class Warpriest, we are going to have the class skills of Athletics, Lore Religion, Knowledge World, Knowledge Arcana, and Persuasion. For proficiencies, we will be proficient with all simple and martial weapons, as well as the favored weapon of our deity, and with all armor, light, medium, and heavy, and shields excluding tower shields. Now, at 1st level, we're also going to have spontaneous casting. This comes in either cure or inflict variations, depending on whether or not you are a good Warpriest or an evil Warpriest. If you're neutral, you get to choose one or the other. What spontaneous casting will allow you to do is expend any prepared spell that you've made for the day, because this class prepares its spells ahead of time, but you can choose to convert one of those spell slots into any cure spell of the appropriate level, or any inflict spell if you're evil. Now, also at 1st level, Warpriests get Sacred Weapon. So weapons wielded by a Warpriest are charged with their faith. This always includes the favored weapon of their deity, but moreover, the Warpriest will be able to designate a weapon as their sacred weapon by selecting it with the weapon focus feat. So if you have multiple weapons selected under the weapon focus feat, sacred weapon will apply to all of them. And typically speaking, you do get weapon focus as a bonus feat at level 1 for the sake of picking your sacred weapon. Now, this is important because when you hit with your sacred weapon, the weapon damage is based on your level and not the actual weapon. You can, however, choose to use the weapon's base damage instead of the sacred weapon damage. Moreover, the bonus damage does not affect anything else on the weapon, just the base damage. It doesn't apply to alchemical items, bombs, or other weapons that only deal energy damage as well. Now, at 2nd level, we're going to pick up Fervor, which will allow us to quickly cast cure or inflict spells. So when we use a use of this ability, we will be able to use a touch spell to either heal or deal damage, depending on, evil or good Warpriest, like I mentioned earlier. But the either healing or damage will go up every 3 Warpriest levels you possess above 2nd, as well as being a standard action. You can use it to harm the undead or cure the undead or vice versa, depending again on what kind of spontaneous casting you have. And then at 3rd level, we start picking up our bonus combat feats. So this works exactly the same way fighter bonus feats do, in that every 3 levels, you will get bonus combat feats that will have to be chosen from the combat feat list, which is to say martially focused feats. Now, at 4th level, we pick up Channel Energy. As usual here, the type of channel that you get is dependent on good or evil cleric, depending on what you picked as spontaneous casting, basically. And you'll get to be able to channel that energy as a cleric would. And then also at 4th level, we pick up Sacred Weapon, or at least the other half of Sacred Weapon. So starting at 4th level, we'll be able to grant our weapons +1 enhancement bonus, and then every 4 levels beyond 4th, we can increase that bonus by 1, up to a maximum of +5 at level 20. This bonus stacks with whatever is already on the weapon. So if you have a +3 sword, you can add +2 to that sword to make it a +5. And then you can use any points that are left over to add from the special abilities that you can see on screen here. That will then take up a certain amount of what's left over of that bonus. so they're not going to waste. Now the cool thing is, at level 7, you pick up Sacred Armor, which allows you to do the same thing, but for your armor as well. And then at level 20, for a capstone ability, we pick up Aspect of War. Once per day, as a swift action, we can treat our level as our base attack bonus, gain DR 10, can move at our full speed regardless of the armor we are wearing or our encumbrance. In addition, the blessings we call upon don't count against our daily limit of using our blessings, and this lasts for 1 minute. Now that brings us to our Champion of the Faith archetype. So Champion of the Faith picks up Chosen Alignment, which will make them choose an alignment of chaos, evil, good, or law. It does have to be shared by them and their deity. Moreover, you will get the blessing associated with this alignment regardless of whether or not it's on your deity's list of domains. And then the opposite is referred to as their opposed alignment. Now at level 4, instead of getting their sacred weapon enhancements, they're going to start picking up aligned weapon. Any weapon wielded by our champion to count as having their chosen alignment for the purposes of overcoming damage reduction. Now, interestingly enough, at 4th level, we pick up Smite. So this will allow us to, as a swift action, choose a target with insight to smite. And if this target is of our opposed alignment, the champion will add their charisma bonus to their attack rolls and add our Warpriest level to all damage rolls made against the target of this smite. This will automatically bypass any DR the target has. Moreover, the champion gains a deflection bonus equal to their charisma modifier, if they have one, to their AC against attacks made by the target of their smite. And if the target is not a creature of the champion's opposed alignment, this has no effect. Now, interestingly enough, this archetype doesn't seem to change our spellcasting ability score at all. So, meaning that it should still be wisdom. I've looked into this. I can't see that it's changed to charisma anywhere. It doesn't seem to be changed to charisma. Only this one ability seems to, for whatever reason, operate off of your charisma. So just something to keep in mind there. And this will, of course, replace channel energy. And that brings us to our cult leader. Our cult leader primarily loses bonus combat feats, but they pick up sneak attack as the big trade-off there. However, there are some other interesting things about the cult leader as well. For starters, there are changes to their proficiencies. They are proficient with all simple weapons, plus the hand crossbow, rapier, shortbow, and short sword, as well as their favored weapon of their deity, of course, as well as being proficient with light armor and light shields. Moreover, they don't gain weapon focus as a bonus feat at level 1 like they normally would. They also add a +2 bonus on stealth checks at level 1. At level 4, they pick up Enthrall in place of Channel Energy. This will allow them to potentially enthrall enemies within 30 feet, but it will consume 2 uses of their Fervor ability. And then at level 12, they get Hide in Plain Sight, which will let them use the stealth skill even while being observed. That brings us to the Disenchanter. So their bonus combat feats get replaced with bonus feats from a specific list that you can see here, which will have things more focused on spells and stuff as opposed to the bonus combat feats that we would typically get. We start picking those up at level 3 like normal, and then at level 4 we pick up Mystic Interference in place of Channel Energy. This will allow us to channel a burst of abjuration magic to grant protection to ourselves and our allies within 30 feet, giving us a +1 bonus on saving throws against spells and spell-like abilities. It is a sacred bonus if we are a good Warpriest, and a profane bonus if we are an evil-aligned Warpriest. This also takes 2 uses of our Fervor ability, and the bonus increases as we level up. At 6th level, we pick up Banish Enchantment. This will allow us to use 2 uses of our Fervor ability to dispel magic on a single creature within 30 feet. And that brings us to our Feral Champion archetype. Now, they only get 1 blessing, and it has to be the animal blessing. Most of the time you can choose 2. Moreover, their sacred weapon is always their claws that they will get as part of this archetype. They will grow claws as a primary natural weapon. Now that's important because starting at level 7, they start picking up wild shapes like a druid would. However, it's treated as if they were 3 levels lower than their actual level for the case of their wild shapes. But they get their bonus damage from their sacred claw weapons. And that brings us to our Proclaimer. So the Proclaimer replaces a bunch of abilities like Fervor and their Channel Energy with Cleanser of Evil. So this will allow them as a swift action to hold their weapon aloft and shout their Fervor, basically, dealing 1d6 points of holy damage to all evil outsiders within 5 feet. At 5th level and every 3 levels after that, this damage increases by an extra 1d6. At 7th level, this effect starts expanding to include an area within 10 feet of the Proclaimer, and it expands by 5 feet every 6 levels thereafter. You can't, however, use this to damage undead or to heal. And then at 4th level, in place of Channel Energy, we pick up Zone of Sanctification. So we can use 2 uses of our Cleanser of Evil, to create a zone of sanctification within the area of our Cleanser of Evil. All evil outsiders in the zone have to succeed at a will saving throw or be pushed back until they are forced out of that zone. That brings us to our last archetype, the Shield Bearer. So Sacred Armor gets replaced with Sacred Shield, basically. So it's still called Sacred Armor, but it only affects your shield as opposed to your armor. It functionally works the same way, but of course some of the special abilities will be slightly adjusted to fit your shield. Our channel energy is actually affected. We still get it, but we can only use it while we are carrying a shield, and it manifests itself as a 30-foot cone burst from our shield as opposed to the normal 30-foot radius around us that it normally would use. So there you go, guys. There is a look at the Warpriest. Kind of a cool take on a cleric. Like, it's not really up my alley per se, but I think it's pretty cool nonetheless. I think people will enjoy playing as this. So there you go, guys. I hope the video gave you the information you were looking for. If it did, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and help me out with that YouTube algorithm. We are growing every day, and I am truly, genuinely thankful for every bit of that. So thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom, and have an amazing day.